Hi, welcome to Anime Only. For fans who don't want to choose between buying a weekly manga and sending their kids to college. My name is Brandon, and speaking of that thing that I just said, sending their kids to college. Do you know what it takes for any functional society to prosper? I'll go ahead and give you 3 seconds to pause the video and leave your guesses in the comments. Alright, time's up. Whatever you just said, you're wrong. Because a society actually needs 3 things: a useful craft or a resource to trade, a lawful and uncorrupt leadership, and arguably the most important part, a population. In this short video, I'm going to share why I think Usopp's decision to leave Syrup Village when he did not only broke Kaya's heart, but doomed his entire village to a slow and generational death. So, strap in while we explore how Usopp doomed Syrup Village. Hello, future me here. Before we get into that, I want to mention real quick that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And while I can't promise to match likes or subs with donations, being a very small channel and not making any money off of this, I urge you to look into the research that is being done to advance the cure. And if you can, donate some money, because even $1 from enough people could significantly improve the chances of somebody's survival. Maybe even yours one day. I'll let past me get back to it. And with that happy thought, let's go point by point, shall we? Starting with need number 1. A useful craft or a resource to trade in, or an economy, if you will. This can be debated with the semi-recent release of the live action, depicting a massive shipyard on the shore of Syrup Village, owned by Kaya's family and employing the men of the village, thus her fortune and an economy from which the people can build their lives. However, this is never mentioned in the anime. In fact, in the anime, our crew asks Usopp for help finding a ship, and Usopp specifically says they don't have anything like a shipyard because they're just a small village. So I feel it's safe to throw that one away. What we do see in the anime is a small collection of houses, Kaya's mansion, and a small restaurant, where we see the only employed person in the entire village. Now, there is the implication the people here farm for a living, as we see them chasing after Usopp using rakes and shovels and the like. However, we never see anybody in a field, or a field at all for that matter. Now, this isn't Usopp's fault, of course. He was just born here. But I believe Usopp's creative mind, had he stayed in the village, could have jump-started an economic boom. And someday it might have even been regarded the same way Karakuri is, where a genius inventor began his tinkering. However, with Usopp's departure, the village will forever remain in a perpetual state of stagnation, which would be alleviated by need numero dos, a lawful and uncorrupt leadership. But, I mean, do I even need to go into this one? In Syrup Village, any leadership is non existent. We are never introduced to a mayor or law enforcement. The closest we have are the guards at Kaya's mansion, and they are so unorganized and incompetent, they all took the same day off, leaving Kaya completely defenseless. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that these guys aren't from the village and probably don't have jurisdiction. So that's actually another point for number 1. The only wealthy person in town is hiring foreign labor. And I'll admit, this one doesn't really have anything to do with Usopp. I definitely wouldn't recommend having him in a position of authority like that. But the problem itself still exists. There is no law to hold the people accountable. Which segues nicely into the big one. Need number C, a population. Now, I could go into numbers, statistics, and tell you how many different stock would be needed for proper genetic diversification in any given society to ensure a healthy genetic pool for future generations to draw from. I could tell you that I have my suspicions half the people in this village are inbred already, but I won't. I'll leave that for Matt Pat to dissect. What I will tell you is Syrup Village is a sleepy town filled with seemingly middle age ish people. And you would think that would be ideal for making babies. However, all evidence to the contrary. We see four children in the whole village: the three boys, Pepper, Carrot, and Onion from Usopp's crew, and this one little girl who looks to be around the same age as those boys. And Kaya and Usopp are the only two kids who are around that age where kids become not kids, if you know what I mean. So it was kind of up to them to produce that genetic diversity while waiting for the previously mentioned children to grow. I mean, even Usopp's father was smart enough to plant a seed before he left. But this is all assuming that Kaya and Usopp have a girl. Having a boy probably would have screwed it up a whole lot more. And I'm coming at this with a very singular philosophy. I am well aware that some cultures, even in my own country, practice polygamy. And if you don't know what that means, I suggest go and ask your parents. But that doesn't seem to be the case in Syrup Village. Since we see every other grouping as a couple, I can only assume they might find that idea distasteful. So, with Usopp leaving the village before having a child of his own, the genetic pool has significantly decreased in diversity, which will end up causing all sorts of genetic disorders and physical anomalies in the future residents of the village until they can no longer reproduce. That, combined with the economic stagnation, makes it unlikely they would ever be able to be productive citizens anywhere else, or even be able to afford to get anywhere else. And lack of any meaningful law or leadership means when the problems become apparent, they'll have no one to turn to and will thus turn on each other. And for all these reasons, it is like this: Syrup Village dies due to the neglect and lack of foresight of a single, selfish liar. And that was my theory on how Usopp doomed his village by setting out to sea. I know it's not super long, but just some food for thought next time that you watch as Kaya holds back, telling Usopp that she doesn't want him to go. But that's going to do it for this one. What do you guys think? Leave your comments or opinions down below, and like, sub, all the stuff for more videos like this from me. I hope to see you next time.